Okay guys, I guess I've been putting off making this video for a couple days because I was a little bit, at first, before I started studying some of this stuff about Haarp and ionospheric heating and things of that nature, I was a little bit scared of doing the video. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't want to get in trouble with anybody or step on any toes or get any infringement problems or anything like that. So I kind of studied a little bit of this stuff, and I don't think any of it's illegal. It's available for download on the internet, so I downloaded it, I looked at it, and now I just want to give you my opinion. Well, first of all, I downloaded a series of papers. It came from some type of a paper that some professional person wrote to some branch of the military or some part of the government or something in 1996. And this paper is all over the place. I've seen a lot of people that have been looking at pieces of this and stuff. I just kind of went through some of it and made some more sense of it, at least for myself. So there's a few parts of it here I kind of wanted to read off to you and to show you a few things I found on a website. Okay, first off, I'm sure you know what Haarp is, at least for the most part. The big antennas and the high levels of electricity and the different radio frequencies, things like that. Weather as a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025, a research paper presented to Air Force 2025, August of 1996. So this is 1996, and it says right here what I highlighted: preliminary stages. Back then, much of what was discussed as being in preliminary stages back then is now a reality. Weather modification will likely become a part of the national security policy in both domestic and international applications. Our government will pursue with such a policy depending on its interests at various levels. Okay. Now, they have these charts laid out with basically the way this stuff works. You know, they have a commander-in-chief who might, you know, be leading the Army or the Navy or the Air Force or whatever. He's on the top, and he tells this WFSE, Weather Force Support Element Agent or whatnot, a person running a computer, what to tell the Air Ops Center, who then sends an airplane or whatever vehicle to employ weather modification tools, and they cause an effect of weather of whatever source they would like. These WFSE support elements evidently have access to something called the GWN, which I'm assuming to be like a global weather network, something to that effect. So they know what's going on in real time around the globe at all times, according to what this says. Your CINC is a commander-in-chief. Okay, this could become more important weapon than the atomic bomb. Weather modification is an alteration of weather phenomena. In the broadest sense, weather modification can be divided into two major categories: suppression and intensification of weather patterns. In extreme cases, it might involve the creation of completely new weather patterns, attenuation or control of severe storms, or even alteration of global climate in far-reaching or long-lasting scale. Extreme and controversial examples of weather modification creation, made-to-order weather, large-scale climate modification creation and or control, steering of severe storms, etc., were researched as a part of this study. Okay, basically what they're saying here is, with the Commander-in-Chief's intent as guidance, the Weather Force Support Agent or whatnot formulates weather modification options using information provided by the Global Weather Network, Local Weather Data Network, and Weather Modification Forecast Model. The options include range of effect, probability of success, resources to be expended, enemies' vulnerability, risks involved, yada yada yada. They use sensors to detect the change in the feed data and the new weather pattern to the remodeling system, which updates its forecast accordingly. So basically these guys are in control of not only the weather, but the meteorologist to tell you about the weather. So everybody has seen all over the internet these anomalies, like the anomaly that they had on 1/1/11 in Arkansas around BB, where all the animals died, actually the birds died, and then the next day they figured out all the drumfish died as well in the river, in the Arkansas River. Just an NOAA picture that I downloaded. It's, you know, I've seen this in several places, and basically what happens is that while it's having this anomaly here on this picture, the rest of the weather moves on by while the anomaly stays in one place, which means one of two things. Either it's something coming into or out of the atmosphere, or something on the earth that's causing this, that does not move with the weather. So it's a stationary object above the spot, or a spot on the earth itself that's projecting this on as an image. So we have to assume that either it's something coming out of the ground or something going to the ground. Well, doing a little more reading and checking out this stuff on the Haarp, boy, there's lots. I can't read all this stuff because it would take me 3 days, and nobody wants to listen to all that junk. But I mean, there's a lot of information here. But they were talking about how the Tesla effect can make, you know, they can use the ionosphere as a mirror. They do something to charge the particles in the atmosphere, and basically they can shoot lasers or different kinds of sound waves, you know, high frequency, low frequency, in the middle frequency, radio waves, all this different kind of stuff. They can bounce it off of the atmosphere, the ionosphere, and back to the ground, and make all kinds of different effects. Whether they make things shake, make rocks, you know, make the rocks vibrate so they can create earthquakes, or they can, like they said, they steer the storms, they can create storms. Let's see, there was something else in here too that I wanted to talk about a little bit that I thought was pretty interesting, that they were talking about with this weather modification. Okay, you know, you hear a lot of people talking about the chemtrails. This is a pretty interesting part they put in here. It says, significant beneficial influences can be derived through judicious exploitation of solar absorption potential of carbon black dust. Well, now that's interesting. Carbon black dust happens to be the same exact stuff they put in the filters for my fish. I know that that's carbon dust that's in there. There's actual carbon particles. But they say carbon dust absorption of solar energy. It can be used to enhance rainfall on the mesoscale, generate cirrus clouds, and enhance cumulonimbus clouds, thunderstorm clouds, in otherwise dry areas. So, you know, they can use different dispersal techniques of carbon dust have already been studied, but the most convenient, safe, and cost-effective method discussed is the use of afterburner-type jet engines to generate carbon particles while flying through the targeted air. This method is based on injection of liquid hydrocarbon fuel into the afterburner's combustion gases. This explains why contrails have become chemtrails. Well, isn't that something? It says it right here in this paper. So these people were talking about contrails becoming chemtrails in '96. So it's not like this is new stuff. This is old hat, and we're just kind of getting the trickle down through the compartmentalization like we always do, unfortunately. Well, I guess what all this stuff told me is this. First of all, this picture. And I was talking about them using the atmosphere as a mirror and focusing all these different beams. Now, you got to imagine, they could have these stations focusing this beam in lots of different locations, and you wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't believe it, how many locations there could be. And now, a lot of people are looking at these pictures, and they're seeing this stuff on the internet, just like this one right here. Okay, these are pictures off of radaranomalies.com, and these are different radar anomalies that have been recorded over the years. You know, they got them on here from back in the 90s clear up to the present day. Now, see, every single one of these radar anomalies you can see looks just like what everybody's been talking about. Right here in the center, you got this spot, and everybody's assuming that there's something coming from this spot and going out. Well, I got news for you guys. I think this is exactly what we're seeing right here. And I think what's happening is that all of these lines are coming from somewhere else and converging on this spot instead of emanating from it and going out. Is that making sense? I think if they're trying to focus an energy for some specific reason in one spot, these are all sources of energy coming to that spot. I mean, that only makes pure logical sense to me. Now, I mean, I am absolutely uneducated in this stuff, and I don't claim to be in any intelligent source whatsoever as far as what this stuff is, but I'm just putting the pieces together. And if you look at this, and then you look at this, it sure looks like the same thing to me. And I understand that the way they make it look, it may make it look like it's something that it's not. But all of these odd rays and lines people are seeing through the radar screens, that's just what these are. So it's been happening for a long time, obviously, right? So what that kind of tells me is, you know, we're probably not the only people on the planet with this capability. How do we know that there's not somebody else that's doing this kind of stuff besides us? Or that it's not some, you know, conspiratorial branch of the government or something that we don't really know about? I can't believe that, you know, the people that in the know would be behind this stuff. But I mean, you know, stranger things have happened. But I guess, you know, I just finally got the guts up to make a video about this stuff. I guess if they don't like it, they can take the video off, or they can send people to my house to knock on the door with funny black sunglasses and call me Mr. Anderson or something. But, you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal, so I hope not. But I just wanted to add my 2 cents. You know, it sure seems like this Haarp stuff is probably real, and it's probably going on a lot more than anybody knows for a lot longer time than anybody wants to admit. And it probably is very powerful, but who's to say that we're the only ones that can do this? And who's to say that's not why the Cold War ended, because we got stuff that makes nuclear bombs look stupid at this point. At least that's my opinion. Nuclear bombs are old hat. They're searching Iran and Iraq for stuff that's, you know, Grandpa building his '39 Ford, and that's not the game anymore, guys. There's something bigger going on here. So just wanted to share this. Anybody wants to see this site with all the radar anomalies, I believe it's just called radaranomalies.com. Yep, radaranomalies.com. So there you go. That's my story for the night. A little bit of Haarp action. I think, you know, a lot of this could have to do with the fact that over the last couple of nights I've been noticing this. You pop up Google Earth right after earthquakes and stuff ended, and right after, I should have took a video because it would have been nice to have it, right after the nuclear disasters started to unfold over here. See, we got Dutch's big storm he was talking about here. What a monster that is, huh? I was watching this real close, and right after all this stuff happened, you saw the cloud cover start to roll out here and come across the Pacific. I think it was maybe the next morning, I noticed this tremendous break right here in the center. You know, it didn't look like this at first, of course. It just looked like a system moving across, and then all of a sudden something went wham and stopped it, and it all started going back over this direction again. Okay, at least that's what it looked like to me, and I thought, are you kidding me? Not only can they create earthquakes, can they change weather, can they do all this crazy stuff? I mean, maybe they didn't make it happen, but they could have helped it. And I know that the tectonic plates are moving, and especially in the Pacific with all the weight and all the pressure, and everything's going crazy. But sure, if they know it's bad, they know the potential energy's there, boy, it sure don't take much to push it off the edge, I'm sure. So there you go. That's my thoughts on that situation. Man, this does look like a big nasty storm out here. But if these guys are smart enough to do all this stuff, why can't they just keep this storm out here in the middle of the Pacific till it dissipates? You know, it wouldn't surprise me to see that happen. For all this stuff to go in the best location possible, or maybe towards someone that you wouldn't think they would send it towards, something to that effect. There's just no doubt in my mind these guys have a lot more control of stuff than we know. I mean, yeah, I'm sure this radiation's bad, and if it gets over here, it could cause problems. And I just have this funny feeling. I just got this. For some reason, I got this clue in the back of my head that isn't going to happen. I don't think it's going to get here. I guess I call it faith in God, call it whatever you want to call it. I think we got some help here. and I think we're going to be all right, at least in the United States. I mean, I pray for all these poor people in Japan. It's obviously been stricken terribly, and I hate to see, you know, anybody employ this kind of Haarp stuff or anything that we're talking about on anyone. But if it's here, we got to deal with it. So I'm just just interested, just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what's going on with all this stuff. So anybody's got any opinions on any of this stuff here? I can't remember exactly what this was called. Like I said, the name of that paper, I said that earlier in the thing. Oh, it's a CFTC report. That's right, 08-4. So yeah, there you go. There's my video for the night. Everybody have a good night. God help the Japanese people and all their problems, and keep that radiation out in the sea. If you guys got a hold of some antenna that blows wind, blow it out to sea, please. Our kids need to grow up. So thanks. Have a good night.